This weekend, we talked a lot about leadership. We've talked some about politics. I want to talk to an organization that I have been a part of for a while and really enjoy being a part of that has to do with real estate. I'm talking with Melissa Zimbleman today from the Women's Council of Realtors. She's the national president for the Women's Council of Realtors, and it's a really neat organization. I think you're going to enjoy hearing about it. So welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Melissa, you're Skyping in from Las Vegas. I bet that's a fun town to live in, huh?
You know what? We have a great time. Never short of anything fun to do.
I bet. I've been there. I went there for an NAR conference, their Tech Edge conference, and spoke at that. And that was my first time in Las Vegas. And I just loved it. I love the shopping. I love the water features. I just loved it. Loved it.
It's absolutely beautiful. We love it. We have a lot of conventions here, but we don't have a lot of realtor conventions here.
I know.
Because people have a hard time staying undistracted.
Yes. You need to work on getting us one there.
Believe me, I'd love to have it in my backyard.
Yeah, that would be nice. So let's talk a little bit about the Women's Council of Realtors. You know, I talked with Cindy Reddy last year because I really have enjoyed what I've done in Women's Council, the women that I meet, the referrals that I get. I mean, I do a lot of business through Women's Council, and I think it's a great organization, and you have made your way to the top of the organization as the president, the national president for the Women's Council of Realtors. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what Women's Council means to you.
Sure. So I got involved about 11 years ago, and my broker at the time was being installed as the local chapter president. Mm-hmm. And so she came to me and said, you know, you should come to my installation. There's these amazing women that are actually doing a ton of business in our market. It's the movers and shakers, the people you should know. It would be awesome for you to get to know these people well, mm-hmm. and really have them as your allies. And so at the time, I had just been that realtor, keeping my head down with my blinders on, just full force, getting as much work done as I could. And I thought, I don't know if I really need that, but I loved her. It's Cheryl Smith. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to support her. Mm-hmm. And so I will say on that first night, the people were amazing, which is what she told me how it was going to be.
Yeah.
And they really were an inclusive group mm-hmm. that I felt like immediately wrapped their arms around me and said, what can I do to make your business better? And that was something I wasn't really experiencing at any other classes I was going to or anything like that. And mm-hmm. really was even a gap at my own brokerage.
Wow.
So I felt like this was a home. This was a safe haven. And these were ladies that actually were not protecting the knowledge they had, but willing to share that knowledge. And again, I think in our industry, we're not always great at that.
Yeah.
So to kind of get around a bunch of women that all had the same philosophy about all of us being more successful as a group than individuals, that was a big deal for me. So that's how I got involved. And then, of course, our famous task is to ask came into play almost right away, saying, would you mind jumping in on this committee or this task force? And mm-hmm. and I am a yes girl who tends to be a pleaser. So, of course, I said, of course, I'll jump in and help. So all of that jump in and help has led to years of amazing servant leadership opportunities with Women's Council. And it has also opened my eyes to the benefits of owning my own brokerage. Mm-hmm. So like you, I opened our brokerage 7 years ago and own my brokerage and have fantastic agents working for me. And really it opened the door to just being a strong, independent woman broker. Mm-hmm. And that I knew I had as much support as I needed around me. And so that was a huge benefit.
Yeah. Sometimes you're kind of out on an island when you're an independent broker. You know, you don't have a franchise to support you or a corporation behind you. And it's nice to have an organization that you can lean on when you have questions or need some support. So.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the camaraderie, because mm-hmm. we're a smaller brokerage. And so for us, we really felt like my team members are also involved. And so we really felt like there was just a lot of value in having that exchange with other realtors that are doing great things in our market.
So you moved on up to the state level in Nevada.
Yeah. So I was the Nevada state governor and then state president, and then was served as the RVP for our region.
Okay.
And then once I was serving as the RVP, I actually just kept getting approached on the national level by people saying, you know, you should be on executive committee for national. And again, I didn't really know what that meant,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't
A
really
lot of
know.
work.
that is in fact that is in fact what that means. So the good news is I think our organization does a really fantastic job of seeing things in each other that we don't always see in ourselves.
Yeah.
And so to have people around that care enough about you to say, I think you have something amazing to offer our organization and the industry as a whole, was really an awesome thing. And so I try to do that whenever possible and tap shoulders of other people I think are amazing, because it's really a unique opportunity to get to do that.
Let's talk a little bit about the international component that has made its way into WCR. That's very exciting this year. How did that happen?
Well, so we've actually been talking about Canadian opportunities for quite a few years.
Okay.
There's been some, just some intricacies that are difficult to work with because they're not in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been difficult because there's trademark issues with realtor being used and things like that if we're outside the United States. So there's always just been a few hurdles that have been difficult to get across, even if there's been interest. And there's been interest for a lot of years. So the Canada project actually kind of started it because we've had some very excited, passionate people in Canada saying, we want to overcome these hurdles and be able to be a part of your organization. So that's kind of what started it.
Okay.
And then I will say we, had an amazing thing happen this last couple years, and our EVP, who we've had forever, which was Gary Chrysler, actually retired. And the person that we hired to replace him was the head of the global network for NAR for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And so when
Great
he
find.
came in, we started, we were very fortunate. So when he came in, he started saying, we at least need to pay attention to these conversations that the other parts of the world are having about wanting to be involved. So we made a trip to Brazil. That was one of our first outreach programs. They actually came to our convention in November in San Diego.
Yes.
And came and said, you know what, we really want to be a part of Women's Council. We see the need for a women's organization in our own market.
Mm-hmm.
And we would love to pair up with you guys and see what's possible. And so we actually made a trek to Brazil with about 12 of our U.S. members.
And next time you need to take me.
Well, they are talking about it potentially being an annual thing. So you will have an opportunity to go if you want to. And, it was really interesting because, of course, it was in Rio, and they are hosting the Summer Olympics, as we know.
Mm.
And so we kind of got to do the behind-the-scenes tour of all of the Olympic grounds and all of the Olympic housing,
fun. Mm-hmm.
in addition to spending time with amazing realtors. Pardon me.
So the point of this is that the realtors can then do referral back and forth across the countries,
Absolutely.
Right?
And what I will say is we're really spoiled in the States. That's something that you're taught almost immediately as soon as you become a realtor, is that if you have somebody that's going to a market you don't specialize in, refer that business out, but keep your client.
Right.
That's really not a common conversation that's held overseas. That's not a concept that they're familiar with. So when we started talking about that, they're very excited. And of course, the majority of their referral business appears that it'll probably happen around Florida, as an example,
Mm-hmm.
just because they have a lot of family members who come back and forth or have moved here to the States.
Right.
Or they have friends and family there. So it sounds like the initial bulk of the business will probably happen down there. But that's great. Obviously, we're excited for our members, and we're excited for them to be open to that conversation.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully it'll spread. We can get to Costa Rica and Panama and all kinds of places.
Well, and I think the familiarity with that process is gonna help with that. Just
Mm-hmm.
once they understand that that's a happy process for both parties, I think that will spread.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have an international component in place now with Women's Council. I think that's a great thing.
Yes.
So, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited because you're such a young leader in our organization, and that's so inspiring that you've only been in it 11 years, not 35 years. That's very inspiring. I've heard you speak. You're a great speaker, dynamic, and full of great information, and I think that you inspire a lot of women, and that's a great thing. What do you think about leadership? What would you tell women who want to be in leadership roles?
Well, I think we're all in some kind of a leadership position now. And I think that a lot of people think, I can never be that, or I can never do that, when you're probably doing quite a bit of that in your life already, whether it be at the PTA or maybe your Chamber of Commerce, or even at your Board of Realtors that you're already involved in. And those small roles, you just never know who you're influencing is the first thing. You know, we have people who come up to me at this point and make me cry because they're saying, you know, when you talked about this or that, or when you said that it was okay to be a property manager, you know, it was really interesting to hear people's different takes on things that I've spoken about. But it's really just about finding what it is you're passionate about. And I think the one thing that women realtors tend to do is that we overcommit. So what I've been kind of speaking about out there too is really deciding what it is that you love to do, and then dedicating yourself to those types of tasks or those types of committees when you get an opportunity, rather than saying yes to everything. Because definitely once we've said yes to everything, what ends up happening is the person that gets left behind is you personally, as you've given everything to everybody. So I think, you know, at this point, jump in, do something exciting, take small bites at a time to figure out what it is that you love to do. Once you've made that decision, then run with it, and just know that you are really impacting the people around you, and that you're opening doors for yourself that you never knew were out there. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, and great
Thank
information.
you for having me.
We're excited. Lots of great things going on in the real estate market. I know y'all's market is good right now. Yes?
It is. We are finally in recovery mode, and there's only about 25% of our economy here at this point is underwater with their homes, which is a huge benefit from where we were at the worst of it. So we're in recovery.
Good,
so,
good.
Yes,
all right. Well, thank you for Skyping in. We appreciate you Skyping in from Las Vegas, and great information. It's always good to talk with you, Melissa.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right, Melissa Zimbleman from Las Vegas. She is the president of the National Women's Council of Realtors. We'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio after a word from our sponsors. You can catch us online at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com.
People often find themselves in need of storage and moving, but don't want the hassle and stress. Sound familiar? Well, at Zippy Shell, we make storage and moving easy. Zippy Shell will deliver a storage container to your home or business. You load it at your leisure, and we'll take it to one of our safe, convenient storage facilities, or ship it to your final destination. We treat your stuff like it's our stuff, because we understand you're not just giving us your belongings, you're giving us your trust. Zippy Shell, storage and moving that makes life simple.